am super excited to have Suzanne with me today. She is in San Antonio, and as we know, Washingtonians have just gone to Texas, same with Californians, all of it. So I'm really excited to share Suzanne one, but also just her talking about her market. So Suzanne, tell me, is San Antonio the new Austin? Like, is Austin the way out and San Antonio's in?
I feel like so a lot of people are saying San Antonio is Austin 2.0.
Okay.
Some people are nicknaming it Austintonio because it's kind of right now we're seeing this massive influx of Austin renters that are buying in San Antonio. Because they're starting to realize like, oh, I could move an hour south and I could get way more for my money and buy a house. Austin, it depends on the area, but Austin right now is about double the cost of San Antonio.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
so you have Austin people moving there. So right now, who else is moving there? Where's the movement coming from? And tell me about the growth that San Antonio has seen maybe in the last few years.
So I actually was kind of stunned by this. I knew Austin renters were coming in, and Austin's number 2, but number 1 is Los Angeles, believe it or not. Number 3 is Houston, but then what's interesting is number 6 on the list is actually Seattle.
I haven't seen straight to San Antonio, but I know that we've seen a lot of Texas movers.
Yeah. And so when I moved to San Antonio a couple of years ago, we were getting a lot of people that were from like Riverside County, San Diego County, some LA County, San Jose area, even like more north, like Davis.
Okay.
But they were all looking at moving to Austin, and only one of those people actually bought in Austin. The majority of them ended up buying in San Antonio because what we're seeing that's still happening is people have this idea, okay, we want to move to Texas, we want to move to Austin, we have X budget, we want this, the lifestyle we want. And when they start seeing the prices, then we tell them, hey, have you thought about San Antonio? It's only about an hour south, depending on where you land in San Antonio. You have easy access to Austin. The prices are a lot more affordable. And they usually push back and they say, no, we're not interested. We really want Austin. And then we say, okay, well, what do we set you up on a search just so you could kind of see both? And what they realize is nothing's coming up in the search for their parameters in the Austin area, but a ton of stuff comes up in San Antonio. And it's usually like a week later, they say, okay, we want to buy in San Antonio. And they end up buying in San Antonio and they love it. And I think now you're starting to see even more people that are not only just looking at Austin and end up in San Antonio, but they actually are now starting to research San Antonio themselves because there's a lot more press about San Antonio.
So you're in San Antonio. So what is there to either do? What's attracting people besides the prices? And is it mostly people that are working from home? Is there industry in San Antonio? What's around there that's going to be attracting most of these home buyers?
So you have tech companies that were from Austin that are actually starting to move to San Antonio.
Okay.
You also have a lot of companies from Southern California that are moving to San Antonio. Hulu actually just, sorry, I'm getting over a cold. Hulu just came over to created a headquarters in San Antonio. USAA, their corporate headquarters is in San Antonio. So there, and then also San Antonio's military, known as Military USA. Excuse me.
It's okay.
So San Antonio is known as Military USA. We have more military bases than any other city in the US. So because of that, you have a lot of military relocations.
Okay. So that's military, which is always great for investment purposes because they're always going to have people, they're always going to be having people living there. And there is a university over there too, right?
There's multiple universities. You have University of Texas at San Antonio. You have, sorry, you have Trinity University. You have University of the Incarnate Word, St. Mary's. So there's multiple universities. There's a big medical center area. So you have a lot of traveling nurses.
Yeah. So this is screaming investors to me. I'm like, oh, you have the primary homes that are great. great for
Mhm.
first time home buyers maybe. And then I'm hearing investor savvy. So
Oh
um
yeah.
okay, so that's great. And so
And tourism. So you have, because the Riverwalk, you have and conventions that they have by the Riverwalk, you have a ton of tourism.
Mhm.
So we've also sold a lot to investors, name a lot of investors from California actually, that are coming to San Antonio, and they're buying properties for Airbnb or midterm rentals.
Okay. And that's, I mean, assuming with what you're saying, it's probably pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Attractive. They're doing well over there. Yeah.
Yeah, because you have different plays. You could do, there's also in San Antonio, there's SeaWorld, which a lot of people don't know. There's a SeaWorld, there's a Six Flags. There's a lot of hill country resorts in San Antonio, lazy rivers. So it's also a vacation destination to people that want to experience like the hill country lifestyle. So
Yeah.
there's different plays for Airbnb. There's downtown conventions. Sorry. Military bases, people that want to be by SeaWorld, by the medical center for traveling nurses, all the military, like being by all the different bases. So there's a lot of different opportunities for Airbnbs.
Yeah. No, I love that. And it's probably a little like I'm in Seattle right now. It's gonna about it's November. It's gonna hit 20s for a low. I'm like, I will gladly go on vacation in Texas right now, probably. Well, thank you. So really quick. So pricing wise, so let's give me an idea of if you were taking a home, like in Suzanne, I forgot to mention, she actually lived in Seattle for a little bit. So she's very familiar with the move across, which makes her a huge and great resource. So you're seeing, and she also works in California. So being the two big states that are moving over there, comparing types of properties, and since you know the markets in all three, like what is the difference in prices when you're going over there?
Oh, like for San Antonio, it's huge.
Okay.
You could get, so when I moved to a little over 2.5 years ago, the average price point for the center of San Antonio was 200,000. Last year it was 300,000. Now it's 400,000.
Oh, wow. Which is still great compared to, I mean, it sounds like a very, heavy increase, but it's great when you're looking at properties
Still
here
a great, yeah. It's
comparing
still
at
a
$1
great
million.
deal. And if you don't mind being on the outer exterior part of San Antonio, so still San Antonio, but more on the far east, far west, far north, or far south of the city, the average price point is still in the twos.
Okay. So, wow, that's great.
So you
Well,
can literally get like a 3-bed, 2-bath home for 200 something $1,000.
oh my goodness. Again, and if it's going to keep growing, then those outskirts could be great investments in 3 to 5 years, I'm sure.
Yeah, and there's a lot coming to San Antonio.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, as you know, with Seattle, how much it's grown. Like, look what's happened with Seattle with all the industry that's come in,
Mhm.
and all the different restaurants and stores and everything that they're building. I feel like San Antonio is starting to see that now. Like, we've had a ton of restaurants that have opened recently. There's a ton of new shopping centers that are being built.
Yeah. So does San Antonio have the infrastructure to keep growing at a very high level? Like Seattle, we're kind of running out of room here, right? So how is San Antonio looking for infrastructure, for land, for roads? Does it have the ability to handle that growth without being too maybe too Austin?
They're a little bit better set up than Austin, because Austin, you have one major freeway only that goes through the center of town.
Yeah.
And then you have some side freeways that go around it, but pretty much like there's not anywhere to really, like Seattle, there's not much more you could do with the infrastructure.
Right.
San Antonio is actually, so San Antonio is, believe it or not, the 7th largest city in the US. And a lot of people don't know that. There's a lot of high freeways, overpasses like you see in LA in certain parts of the town. And like the main center of town, there's a lot of different access roads and stuff, freeways that you could take. But there are certain freeways that are very small, and there's massive congestion in those areas. And right now they're trying to expand those out. The bigger issue is you have all these new homes that are developing on the far west side,
Mhm.
and there's not a lot. They built the homes before they built the streets, so those streets see a lot of congestion.
Okay.
So you definitely have certain pockets that are definitely going to struggle the more that people are coming in.
Right.
But in general, they're in a way better position than Austin is, let's say, for like the infrastructure for the growth.
Okay. Well, it sounds to me, everybody, I'm like, I've been following Suzanne now with her San Antonio journey, and I've even reached out like, hey, how are the Airbnbs? Hey, kind of investment savvy in my mind. I'm thinking these things where it really does sound like a great opportunity for both personal properties and possible investments. So if you guys love real estate as much as travel, wine, and food, and you love all four, definitely follow Suzanne. I'll put her Instagram handle in there. And again, she is a badass realtor down in San Antonio, also licensed in California. So if you've had any thoughts of even moving to Texas in general, or just different parts of the area, Suzanne is definitely someone to ask and very knowledgeable. So thank you so much for giving us all that great information. And I'm sure someone's going to be looking for San Antonio pretty soon after that.
Thank you so much, Veronica.
All right, you guys, thanks so much.
Bye.